Hey, pretty lady, you tell yourself that you'll never make it. Drown yourself in lies and your illusions. Don't you know that what you think is who you are? Hey, pretty lady, you tell yourself that you're not beautiful. Who told you all those lies that just deceiving you? Don't you know that you can be all you've always dreamed of? God made you beautiful, said it in His word that you were beautiful, and you were going places that you never dreamed. He said that you're the first, not the last, so don't believe those lies and those illusions. They're lies and just illusions. Hey, young man, I see through your eyes and I can tell you the way you see yourself is how I feel you. Don't you know the stuff of what you're made of? Everybody listening, as long as you're breathing, yes, you have hope. And if you're down, the only way is up. Don't you know that he who's down needs fear no fall? God made you beautiful, said it in His word that you were beautiful, and you were going places that you never dreamed. He said that you're the first, not the last, so don't believe those lies and those illusions. They're lies and just illusions. Hey, hey, don't believe those lies and those illusions. Don't you know that you are better, bigger and better than that? Yeah, God made you beautiful. He said it in His word that you were beautiful, and you were going places that you never dreamed. He said that you're the first, not the last, the head, not the tail. God made you beautiful. He said it in His word that you were beautiful, and you were going places that you never dreamed. He said that you're the first, not the last, so don't believe those lies and those illusions. Don't you know you're beautiful? Yeah. Me and my Rugo, but my country. Because you're beautiful. Because you're beautiful. Hey, pretty lady, you tell yourself that you'll never make it. Drown yourself in lies and your illusions. Don't you know that what you think is who you are? Hey, pretty lady.
Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the Powder Room. I'm so proud of us. Oh, my goodness gracious. I mean, we started on time. And if you've been following us, this is our 5th episode. It's been all sorts of crazy, but we are so, so happy that we have regulars now who do join us in the Powder Room for our talk week in, week out. This is Powder Room, where the realest talk happens. And just a quick introduction into the powder room. The powder room is a private space in a public place. Yes, you heard it, where you can let your hair down, have honest conversations, gain on common sense, and get yourself back together to face the world with truth, tact, and tenacity. We have quite a very important and serious discussion to have today. So I'm going to jump straight into it and introduce the rest of my panelists. My name is Kara the Wordsmith. See the strategist, are you there?
Hello, Kara, and hello, everyone watching. Good to have you here. Now we're in a courtroom, and I feel very much like a judge. Looking forward to it. Hello. Casey, the realist, are you there?
Yes,
you
I'm
feel like
here.
a judge just like me?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, C. Thank you, Kara. It's good to be here today. Thank you for everyone who's been following. Thank you for your kind comments. So let's do it today. Ada, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, guys. It's family court this week. I can't wait to hear, all those issues. You can ask people. You always say to someone, do you know someone that this happened to? So it's going to be an exciting time. Everyone should just stay tuned. Yeah.
Okay.
And wait. Chere. The prof herself, the Professor Emeritus, FMNG, GPIR, GPS, what are those titles?
Good evening, everyone. Glad to be here once again on a Saturday evening or Saturday afternoon, depending on where you live in the world. And thank you for joining us. Like C said, we're in the courthouse, so we're all ready to give our verdicts. Karachi.
Thank you so much. I think this introduction is so funny. Are you there? Are you there? Of course we're here. We've been waiting here to go live since. So I'm sure everybody's wondering why they're asking themselves, are you there? Anyways, powder room, nobody's judging anybody, please. However we will do it is however it's going to be. And like Ada said, today we're going to the family courthouse. And I think coincidentally, we're all wearing black and white. I'm sure we're all in the spirit. We all have the same message that, let's try to look very serious. We actually have a lot of barristers and lawyers in the house. And today is extra special because we're not just the ladies in the powder room. We have some really interesting gentlemen tonight to join us for the family courthouse. It's not balanced when it's only women that are talking because we just hear one side of the story. Let's hear the real cocoa, the other side of the story, the heavy side of the story. And so we have two very important guests. The very first person I'll be introducing is Ugo Oche. Ugo Michael Oche lives in the United Kingdom. It's such an honor to have him. His CV is huge. So I'm just going to break it down into just listable things that you and I can understand. First of all, he's a business intelligence and development strategist. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's a mentor. He's a life coach, and he's also a well sought after counselor. Ugo Oche, are you there?
Very good question. Am I there?
Hi.
Absolute pleasure to be here today. I feel so privileged, and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope you still feel the same way after we have asked all the questions we have lined up for you in the courthouse tonight. And the second person I'm going to be introducing is Mr. Taiwo Akinlami, who is a social development lawyer, and his area of interest and primary constituency is family and all the institutions that are for securing a friendly and protective environment, especially for the African children. And this is something he has done diligently and faithfully for 21 years. He's a solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, and he has served in the capacity of a consultant, facilitator, resource person, content provider, and researcher for, wait for it, UNICEF, Ministry of Women Affairs, Poverty Alleviation, Lagos State, Hope Worldwide Nigeria. You said Child Rights Information Bureau, that's CRIB, in the Federal Ministry of Information, and specifically in any area that has to do with child protection. You're welcome tonight. He has already put, I just like you, sir. He has already put on his video. This gist I'm talking is too long. Sir, please, I have problem. I know we called you here to help other people's problem, but after seeing your CV, I have problem. So please, if you can say hello to us tonight, and please assure me that I have appointments with you.
Yes, good evening. It's my pleasure to be with you. It's a duty to be blessed am I amongst women and a man. And it will be my pleasure to be with you tonight.
Thank you so
I look
much,
forward to a
Mr.
good time with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It's awesome to have you. And you know how we do things. Usually we slowly get into the topic we're talking about today. But tonight, like I said, it's Family Court House. And so I have with me my very precious wooden palette. And I have with me what I will be pretending to call a wooden mallet. So when you hear that sound, that means that is the final verdict. And if you're in a similar situation, that is the verdict for you tonight. I just like lockdown. Nobody will blame you if you don't have the anything you have, people will have to accept it like that. So, and then again, something else interesting that will be happening, and this you can join on the chat room. We're going to be taking verdicts on whether people are guilty or not guilty. We're going to be saying yes or no. So if you want to join into the family courtroom tonight, just type whatever your mind, what you think concerning each case study, type it in the chat room. We'll pick up a few of them and of course we'll share it with you. We're jumping straight into case study 1. Now this one's going to be a voice note, so please do bear with me while I share the voice note. I'd also like to encourage Mr. Ugo and Mr. Taiwo Akinlami to please listen really carefully. This is case number 1.
My name is Richard. I'm a married man with children, but, well, I had an affair. It wasn't just a one-off affair. It lasted a while. Quite a while. A few months and one child later, well, I decided to open up to my wife about my affair and my child, who I wanted to bring to our home so we could raise him properly. As expected, she wouldn't hear of it. She wouldn't hear of it at all, and she refused my proposition vehemently. Well, I can understand why she would be so angry. We had been married for 8+ years, and we have 3 children together. My admission of the affair was enough cause for heartbreak, not to talk of a child outside which I wanted to bring into our home. Well, to be honest, I knew it was asking for too much, but I couldn't. No, I couldn't stand having my son grow up without me in his life. No, it would be too much for me to handle. So I decided I would ignore her, refuse her calling her both families to weigh in on the matter, and convince her to accept the new arrangement. On the day of the family meeting, we had a total of 12 family members in attendance, and I had convinced, more from our side that I was going to do better, that what I was suggesting was the sensible thing to do. Somehow I was sure they would, be able to convince her to accept. But I was wrong. I was wrong, because nothing in this world would have prepared me for what happened to me that day. Nothing. After presenting the news about my affair child, my wife calmly stated to everyone that the child I was claiming was my son, and battling to bring into our home cannot be mine. Sounded funny. Initially, I thought it was funny. Then I thought I wasn't hearing properly. Auntie, why so much certainty? I heard someone ask. Well, she replied, none of our 3 children actually belong to your brother. Therefore, he is incapable of fathering another child outside. Let his so-called mistress go and find a real father to train his child. The air condition was really cold in the room, but I immediately broke into a sweat and I started gasping for breath. What? What did you say? I knew something was wrong with me. After we had waited a few years after marriage without getting pregnant, my wife suggested we go for a medical checkup, but I declined. She went and came back to say that the doctor has certified her fit. I insisted I wasn't fine as well, and we carried on. When she fell pregnant a few months later, I felt I was in the clear. By the time we had 3 children, my ego was on an all-time high. Well, our relationship on the other hand had a hit, and was an all-time low, which, made me start looking out. Brother, is it true? That question drew me back to reality. I looked around the faces in the room and quietly got up and went into the bedroom to sleep. I don't know how long it took for all our family members to leave. I didn't care. I still don't care. Still don't care. It's a few days now. What should I do? Where will I start? Who can I trust? Who can I trust?
Wow. So that's a very sad one, but that's the very first case study. And he asked quite a couple of questions there at the end. He said, "Who can I trust? Who can I trust?" And it's a very sad one. But let's quickly just start by maybe going to Ugo. Ugo, please, could you just share with us very quickly, what do you think would have been done in this situation? Like, I'm not asking what should he do now. I'm not asking like, what is the alternative action he could have taken, knowing, that this is what had happened. You can't, you have 3 children, you had an affair, you have a child outside. What could he have done at that point? Because there's quite a lot of things that he did. Called the family, decided to tell her, decided that the child has to come into the home. So please, what are your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Lady Cara. Yeah, to be very honest, it's a very sad one, almost like something from a movie, to be honest. But the reality is there's just 2 points that kind of stood out there for me. The first one was she asked him to go with her for a test. And for me, that's a big deal because that's somebody saying there's a problem. Let's try to see how we can solve it. And the truth is, with technology today, it's no more the way it was many years ago, where, okay, the man has a problem and everybody goes to, no. I mean, there's so many kind of procedures that are done now, legal, legit procedures that could have possibly saved his marriage. I mean, this is not to declare now that what she's done is correct, but I think that was a turning point for them in their marriage. But number 2, as it stands, the reality is I'm not really bothered about what any of them thinks. Right now it's about the kids, because every child has a right to a dad and a mom. And there's 3 kids out there who have gotten used to calling him daddy. What he needs to do is gather himself up and do exactly what he was expecting her to do. Be a dad to those kids. He can sort himself out later. It might be controversial, but that's just the way I feel. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow, that's a serious one. And I'm so sad that we're pressed for time. If not, that I really wanted to unpack this a little more because of all that is in there. But Ugo, what you said is quite profound. The fact that you were able to identify the moments where there could have been twist in the final outcome. That's very profound. Thank you very much for that. And before I'll come to you, Mr. Taiwo. I think it's time for us to even just share what we think. Let's start with the man, because it's the one that sent us this. And please, let me even start by saying, no case we present tonight is fiction. Every case we present tonight is a real life situation. And so we're not speaking old wives' tales. We're not telling stories. We're not enticing anybody. We're not here to do that. We don't have the time. What we're here to do is to talk about real issues and how this can be resolved. So please, if you're listening to us either on Facebook or you're listening to us on YouTube, this is the time where we do a guilty or no, not guilty for the man and for the woman. So get your paddles ready. When I say reveal, you will reveal or you will type. It depends on where you are. Let's start with the man. Guilty or not guilty. Ready? And reveal. Can we all reveal? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. You can keep your papers down. I feel like flogging one student. I'm a teacher, but let us keep going. Now we're going to talk about the woman. And if you remember this study, she's the one that basically got 3 children out of marriage to save face for her home and her husband and herself, and who eventually was forced to speak the truth in a family gathering. All right, let's go. Guilty or not guilty? Please reveal your side now. Strategists, are you here? Please show us your partner. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. C is also monitoring what's happening online, so she can get us your feed. That is why. So, Mr. Akinlami, you have seen what we feel about this situation, and I think my next question will be for you. What is the solution? I'm not even asking what has happened. This is the mess that they're in. You could obviously hear the pain that this family is going through. Please, sir, what is the solution?
Well, for every problem, there's a solution. No matter how tough or difficult it looks, there's always a way forward. So going forward, I think the first thing the question the guy is asking is a deep question, but it's a wrong question. So it's not about who can he trust. It's about, can he be trusted? Because again, he went out of his marriage to have an affair, and the affair supposedly led to a child. So it's not about, so there are 2 questions he should ask. Who can he trust? Who can he trust, and can he also be trusted? Because this was not revealed from the blues. It was an action that led to a reaction. So if we say they should stay together, if we say they should stay together, well, that is a good point. But staying together is not the issue. It's whether they are able to stay together. Trust is a fundamental ingredient when it comes to marriage, friendship, and all of that, forgiveness. But all of these, forgiveness does not mean you remain in the marriage. You can forgive and still part ways and find a way to take care of your children. So if again they stay together because of the children and they are not able to resolve the issue of trust, another issue is that the children will be in the marriage, but again, they will go through the tension in the marriage if they are not able to resolve their issues. So I think what they need to do is to search their... Now they can't stay together if they are matured enough to handle their situations. But again, it is beyond that. It is about the conversation they need to have, which must be meaningful, which must be healthy, which must be helpful, which must be empathetic, which must be inspirational. And that is not a conversation they can have alone. They have to decide who they can talk to that can judge the matter as it is, judge the disposition of the man, judge the disposition of the woman. Both of them have cases to answer. And having judged the disposition of both of them, can I advise them, someone who they trust, whose counsel they can live by, advise them on what to go. And once they agree, there has to be accountability partners, there has to be accountability processes. How do we ensure that we live within the boundaries of our commitments? Don't forget that the book that I read says that one ground upon which you can ask parties to go their separate ways. Now it means that it's a very, very strong matter. It's not something, if the book that encourages us not to give up, encourages us to stay on in the battles of life, says, on this account, I advise you, if you cannot handle it, you can make your move. So again, so these are fundamental issues that we need to look at. So at the end of the day, I would say, whether to stay or not, they will need someone to look at both of them, because as at now, we cannot measure here the impact of this experience on both of them. Is a sad experience. Having said that, but there are people who can sit down with them, listen to them, see what is going on. If the man wants to remain in the marriage, it takes two to remain in the marriage. He may wants to remain in the marriage, the wife may not want to remain in the marriage. Now, if both of them are looking forward to pick the pieces of their lives together and move on, now we are now also looking at the father of those three children coming up now and saying that I want my children. This is a messy situation. So they need to calm down. Nobody, that man cannot claim any right. From the tone of his conclusion, he's trying to claim one right. He can't claim any right in this matter. He needs to humble himself under the mighty hand of God so that help can come for him. The woman also cannot claim any right. Both of them need to sit down to work it out, provided they are ready to work it out. But they need a person who can look at them, see the impact of all of this on them, and advise them going forward. But they have, if they choose to come together, they have a lot of work to do. If they choose to part ways, they have a lot of work to do, particularly when it comes to the children that are involved in this mess.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. So you've heard it. That's the verdict for case one, and a very profound one at that, with even solutions on what to do. Both parties were found guilty and were advised by the judge to take action based on where they are presently. So there's no universal answer for them. It is what they discover in the course of listening to what Mr. Akinami has said to decide on what to do. And now very quickly, we'll move on to case two. It's also a voice note, so please do listen carefully. Thank you.
Good. Okay. I think I just have to summon up courage and share the story, because I'm heartbroken at the moment, and I just need your advice. I'm 22 years old. I got married early 2019, and by the grace of God, I gave birth in the first week of March. My mom was in her early 40s, though she's still very young and vibrant. She had to come for the normal rites, which is omugwo. After about 2 months, 2 months and 2 weeks, she was supposed to go back to the village. But my husband suggested that she should stay at least another month since there was lockdown. I hurriedly accepted. I said, okay, that's fine, because I don't want to endanger my mom, traveling on the road all by herself. And because of this pandemic, I quickly said yes. And I had to, thank my husband for it. Since last week, my mom has been sick. And I thought it was malaria, so I bought her malaria drugs, but to no avail. She was not getting better. So I decided to take her to the hospital. After several tests, it was found out that my mother is 4 weeks pregnant. My man, 4 weeks pregnant. Terrible, man. It's terrible. Not just being pregnant, but pregnant for my husband. mon chéri avec mon mère. Ça n'est pas bon, n'est pas bon. I am broken, I am sad. Oh Seigneur, qu'est-ce que je vais faire maintenant? Qu'est-ce que je vais faire? Ah. Right now, they are pleading for me to keep it a secret so that she will abort the baby before going to meet my dad at the village. What should I do? Qu'est-ce que je vais faire maintenant? Should I tell my father? Should I quit the marriage? Can I ever forgive both of them? Like the sight of them. Oh my God. My heart is busting into pieces. I really need your advice. I don't know what to do. I'm so in pain. I don't know. Plus my baby is just so young. I don't know what to do.
So that was the second. That's the second voice notes. Apologies, I'm getting emotional. That's quite a story. But that's the second case study that we'll be discussing tonight. And I think she asked quite a number of questions. The ones that we could understand, the ones in English, she said, should she tell her father? That's the one that even struck me, because you're putting her in a very difficult position. Should she tell, Ada, maybe you could just help us out. What do you think? Should she tell her father?
I don't know. That story is so sad. My mom is actually even watching. But honestly, I think in this matter, I think I would, if I were in her shoes, I probably would tell her to let my dad know herself, you know, let my dad know herself. I will give her time to come clean and inform my dad. And if she doesn't do it, I might be forced to do that, because how do I face my parents going forward if I keep that as a secret? And then I mean, the deceit, I will give her time to complain with my dad, and probably she doesn't, I might just have to tell, but it's, I think.
Thank you, Ada. I think that was very clear. So you practically give her an ultimatum. You have to tell dad, or I would. There's so much happening, even on YouTube. Like there's a lot of Kayla, Jerea, Stella, Rosanna, like the exclamations are just going on and on and on. Like it's really a very shocking tale. Like I said to you earlier on, every story, every case study we're bringing to you is real. So thank you very much, Ada. We've picked up on that. And maybe I'll go to you, Professor Ruth. She asked a question, said, will I ever be able to forgive them? You know, that's a very difficult question. It's one thing to say forgive, but look at, it's a mess. So can I ever be able to forgive them? Please, could you talk on that? Can she ever do that?
You know, if you ask me top of my head, you know, it sounds like a very unforgivable matter, because the extent of the pain and the wound of that kind of act, I just can't imagine someone forgiving. But the question is, can she forgive? And it's talking about the possibility of forgiveness. And so because she's asking, can I forgive? And because I know there's a possibility, there's actually a possibility, because really, from what I know, there's really nothing that cannot be forgiven. But you know, it's going to take a lot. And like Mr. Akinlami said, there are conversations to have, there's counseling, there are discussion, there's so much that needs to happen to bring her to that place where she would even begin to think about forgiving. because it is a deep wound. And these people are going to be around her. They're around her. She might leave the man, but this is a mother you're talking about. And so if we ask about possibility, yes, there's a possibility, but we cannot undermine all that needs to go with that possibility. You know, all that she needs to go through, because she actually needs to forgive to move on. That's really the reason why she would need to forgive, for her to move on, for her to have her life. Because if she keeps it, the wound will keep, you know, it will keep hurting her all her life, and even the child she has, and a lot of things. It's a sad situation, and I'm trying to imagine it. But she
the child she has, Ruth, the child the mother has, Nko, who will be doing holiday in your house. Like, I'm not getting.
There's
He's
a
not lining up.
And you know, this is one thing I just want to mention here, that, you know, sometimes we say our actions are personal, but they're not private. So it's important to understand that whatever you do has an implication. So you have to think about your action. You have to think about what, because the normal outcome of sex is a baby. And so, you know, what was she thinking? When you think about it, I don't know how to wrap my head around this situation. I'm still trying to, but it's amazing. It just tells us that our actions, we really need to give thoughts, a lot of thought to our actions. Because if we do, we might not need to get to this point. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Ruth the Prof. You've said so much there. Mr. Taiwo, I'm going to come to you in a bit, where of course, I'll ask you the million dollar question, which is, please advise on how this can be resolved. If the first thing you said actually teared me up. I'm talking to Mr. Kinlami, because the first thing he said is every problem has a solution. That's a deep comment. Because it helps you put your mind in a certain place, that there's a solution to this, no matter how bad it is. So I'll be coming to you, sir, for that solution. But before then, it's time to get our paddles out. You're joining us on Facebook. We're voting. This is Family Court. And here we're listening to real life case studies, and we're voting on whether they're guilty or not guilty, or sometimes the question can demand a yes or a no. And how you can join and participate is simply by typing in your thoughts in the chat room. You're on YouTube, go to the chat. You're on Facebook, go to the chat. So the question I'll be asking us now is, should she stay in the marriage, or should she leave the marriage? Let me pick one. I think, should she quit the marriage? Yes, let's make that. So if you show me yes, that means you're saying she should quit the marriage. It's a done deal. If you show me no, that means you're saying she should not quit the marriage. All right, so are we ready? And when I say 1, 2, 3, reveal, you'll either type or you will reveal here. 1, 2, 3, reveal. Should she quit the marriage? Wow, was split. There's yes, 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 and there's no, no. All right, very, very interesting. Thank you very, very much. I'm coming to you now, Mr. But let me even ask. Let me ask Casey. Casey, what was your answer again?
My answer was yes.
Why should she quit the marriage? Did you not hear Mr. Akin? I mean, where were you? There's a solution for every problem.
Yeah, so the solution for this particular one is that she should quit the marriage, you know, and this is my honest opinion. Probably not as a subject matter expert, but as a human being, a woman, a mother, a daughter. So I'm trying to put myself in that shoe. I think that's the best way, you know, possible. It's a sad one. This is not just a situation that has created a wound. This is a situation that has created a generational issue. Okay, it's a multiple consequence issue. It's not something to gloss over. It's not something you just say, oh, we hugged each other, we cried, and then it's done. No, it's deeper than that. And so for me, the man is like someone who has uncovered his mother. You know, if we were to go by the book that we believe in, and we were to pass a verdict, it's a death sentence for him. It's actually a death sentence, you know, and even the mother. But the point for me is she needs to quit. Oftentimes when you say quit doesn't necessarily mean quit and then marry. That's what many people think of. You know, she mustn't remarry, but she should quit. That man uncovered his mom. He uncovered his, you know, if we want to extend it, his in-laws' wife, you know, he brought infidelity into his marriage. There's an unborn child. And, you know, for someone like me, I'm pro-life. So that child has to live, except by some twist of fate, something happens to that child. But if by no twist of fate, the child is alive, I believe the child has a right to live. It wasn't the child's making that probably the foundation of his birth was illegitimate in any form, or was an incest, or was sinful. It didn't have anything to do with him. Okay, it doesn't even mean that he may not experience some of the consequences that come with such actions. Life is spiritual, we mustn't forget that, you know. So growing up to that child, they have already, you know, made him, he already has a deposit that he may not be able to, you know, battle through with all of his life. Of course, mercy can always prevail, but there are times when while mercy is prevailing, you know, we probably need to all go our separate ways. Her mother can't stop being her mother, but we all, you know, need to be on different lanes.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you. I think you very nicely outlined why you said yes, that she should leave the marriage. Now let's come to Mr. Akinlami. Mr. T, please, what should we do?
Well, it's a complicated issue, but as I said before, there's always a solution to every problem. There's a solution. Now, again, when a problem happens, it's easy for us to name blame and name, you know. But you see, life is not like that. Life is never 2 + 2. That's why 2 + 2 is 4. That's why in a country like Finland, they stopped this whole idea of subject-based education. They started dealing with projects. Because they know that when children leave school, they're not going to be dealing with 2 + 2. They're going to be dealing with So how does Jesus, so I speak as a person of faith now, how does he answer this kind of question? You know, when they came to him and asked him about adultery, you know, he didn't begin by addressing that question. He started by saying, in the beginning, it was not so. So he tried to look at the foundation that created that whole relationship that led to divorce. And that is what is important here. The first thing we need to understand is that what has happened is a reflection of the value system of the people involved, the reflection of the value system of the woman, the reflection of the value system of the man, the reflection of the value system of the woman, of the affected woman whose husband slept with the mom. Because at the end of the day, it's not about leaving the man. It's not about remarrying or not remarrying. It's about the fact that there is a set of value system that made her to make that choice. Now, we will never be perfect in our choice, you know, but the truth of the matter again is that now that the choice is deliberately made without a gun in her head has led to this kind of situation, it is important that she also sit down to introspect. Did I miss anything? Did I get anything wrong? Were there warning signs that I neglected during courtship and all of that? So she also needs to deal with that, because you see, in criminology, there's also study of victims. It's called victimology. How do you become a victim? And it's something in this part of the world that we don't consider. We always focus on this person has done wrong. No, it doesn't work that way. So the woman has her own role to play in introspecting. That is the wife. The mother has her own role to play. The husband has his role to play. Now, secondly, on the issue of whether to tell the father or not, I don't think the father needs to be told. It is how that they need to consider. How are we going to reveal this to the father? I don't think that it's something they can keep for long, because you see, where I come from, I'm Yoruba, they say, that is, whatever you don't want anybody to hear, don't do it. The cure for don't hear is don't do. Once you do it, you can be sure, like a matter of time. You know, in my work, I've dealt with bizarre cases, serious cases that time will fail me to begin to talk about. So the number one thing is that I agree with Kelechi Mba that we cannot say that child will be aborted, because when there's a crisis, you can't cause more harm. If a house is on fire, you can't put more petrol. Now, casualty must be reduced to the barest minimum. So the first thing we need to do is that, what did this child do wrong? As a matter of fact, the child is not illegitimate. It is the process that brought the child to life that may be legitimate. So it is important that, what they do in developed countries is that kind of child is given birth to, and he or she is given out in adoption, to a family. There are great men in America today who came through the process of rape and all of that, and they are doing very well, because what their mother simply did when they were born was to give them away for adoption. Now, that children, we may see here the story. The child is growing up in difficult circumstances, but that the situation is difficult does not mean it is impossible for the child to turn out well. Now, the variables that will determine whether the child will turn out well or not will be dependent on those who are going to raise the child, whether they are able to manage, the difficult circumstance and bring the best out of that child. So the case of the child is not forever and eternally damned. Now, as to forgiveness, what I think is this. I think when we talk about forgiveness, there are two issues we confuse. We confuse the issue of the fact that when I forgive, who benefits from forgiveness? It is the person who forgives that benefits more from forgiveness. I experienced childhood abuse, massive ones. I lost my virginity at the age of 6. I was messed up, there's nothing for me. I do not look at childhood with nostalgia. There's nothing that I left in childhood I want to go and take. As a matter of fact, childhood 18 years was too long to be a child. But when I became an adult, I became a Christian. And when I became a Christian, it became clear to me that I lost my childhood to abuse. I cannot lose my adulthood. And one of the ways by which I can lose my adulthood is to continue to dwell on what my parents did wrong and continue to use their effort to judge their errors. But I realized that I must use their effort to judge their error, not their error to judge their efforts. They were looking for the best for me. That's the best they thought they could do. And they made all of their mistakes in looking for the best for me. I don't think they were wicked people. So it was easy for me that I must release myself from my past. And the way to release myself is to forgive. Forgiveness is my responsibility. But note, forgiveness is my responsibility, and I'm the primary beneficiary of forgiveness. It is not easy, but if I understand it that way, it's going to be easy for me, because as a Christian, for example, I was forgiven. If I was forgiven, so I should forgive. Number two, we mistake forgiveness for consequences. Forgiveness, I can forgive you. You are my staff. You say you have stolen from me. You say, sir, forgive me. Forgive me. I don't hold anything against you. But I have to fire you. I can't. I caught you trying to put poison in my tea. You say, sir, please forgive me. I have forgiven you, but you are fired. I don't have anything against you. I don't wish you dead. It doesn't mean that if tomorrow there's something I can do to help you, I will not. But I can't keep you in my home after I caught you trying to poison my tea. In the name of forgiveness, I will not keep you. No, I can't do that. I'm forgiving you. I don't hold anything against you, but sir, you have to leave. We can't work together. Now, so in this matter, if we relate to this matter, this woman may need a level of some time to separate from the husband. She might not leave, but she might want to separate and consider whether she's in a right frame of mind to continue in that relationship. It's very, very important. You see, settlement, the easy settlement is to come together again. But coming together is not the real settlement. Are the parties involved ready for the level of accountability involved? That is the same thing in the first case. The level of accountability that is going to be involved is a perfume is smelling your body. You've committed adultery before. If you come back home and say, which perfume is this? You can't ask me which perfume. I have right to ask, because there are some conditions we have to agree that we keep the relationship. There has to be accountability. Before, I may not notice perfume. Now I notice perfume. You can't tell me you are using yesterday to judge me. No, my love, I'm not using yesterday to judge you. I'm just asking critical questions. Both of us have history, and we must understand where all of that comes in. So there has to be a code of conduct that they will have to put together. Now, finally, I think that I was going to give an example. If I'm a robber, and in the process of robbing someone, I'm shot and I lose a leg. If I become a Christian, the leg does not become restored because I'm a Christian. That leg is gone. Are you getting it? So there are consequences to every action. People are forgiven, they still go to jail. So I think we must not be afraid of the consequences of this action. We must think about the child in the marriage. That is, the woman already has a child. How do we manage all of this situation? Again, I go back to my counsel, which is the first one. Parties who are close to them, their pastor, their imam, whosoever is close to them, need to sit down with them, look at who they are, whether they can handle this thing, whether they have the temperament, the emotional stability, and maturity to deal with it, because every issue can be dealt with. It depends on those who are involved.
Wow. Wow.
Whoa,
Thank you very much, Mr.
that was profound.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taiwo. That was very, and I think it's even more profound because even as you're speaking to a particular situation and you're talking about a particular case, I'm sure they are actually solving problems in a various large span of situations because your solutions are not specific. They can be applied in so many different similar situations in different homes. So thank you so much for that, Mr. T.
Thank you so
now,
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Now we're going to go on and go to case study 3. And this case study is actually a general one. I'll be reading it from my phone. I was considering, or we in the powder room, we're thinking, should we put it up online? But it has the names of the people. It has, so that's not really our focus for tonight. Our focus is solutions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be reading it from my phone. And then after that, we're going to be discussing it, starting with Mr. Ugo. So we're coming to you, Mr. Ugo, because a lot of people have said a lot about this particular case. It's a conversation between a lady and her boyfriend. They're not married, but they've been dating for a while. Just wanted to give that context. Let's go. No calls again today. That's from the girl. Sorry, I was busy throughout yesterday. So it took you this long to reply me. What did I do wrong? Everything. Why did you lie to me? How? When I lost my job 3 months ago, why did you lie about the source of the money you used to sustain the house? How did I lie? You told me your boss gave you a raise. You said your salary was increased from 50,000 to 95,000 naira, which is also a lie. Baby, you can't be laying accusations like that. They are not accusations. Last week, I went through your phone. Yes. And I saw the message you sent to Alex. You were thanking him for sending you money for the house upkeep. Who is Alex to you? I want to hear it from you. My ex. Look, I only did that because Alex and I are friends. There's no strings attached. Do I look like a toddler to you? What kind of man gives a woman money every time she asks without expecting anything in return? The only man that does that is Jesus. Baby, don't think this the wrong way. I intend to pay him back the money. It's not like he's gifting me the cash. I read the chat more. I read further. When he asked you about your boyfriend and you said, if he was man enough, I wouldn't come to you. So my money is what makes me man enough. You told my fellow man that. I feel ashamed of myself. I had no choice. We needed the money. You're still justifying your actions. I feel like throwing up. So when we need money, Alex, your ex is the only human on earth you can turn to. My friends warned me about you, Oh, okay. So now he has come to this. No, I'm not trying to be petty. It's just the truth. No strings attached. That's the biggest lie ever. Who knows how many times he has seen your nakedness? I know I made a mistake by taking money from my ex, but I won't have you question my character like that. I didn't have sex with Alex, even if you didn't have sex with him. The fact that you couldn't think rationally when we faced a little challenge as a couple shows the kind of partner you'll be on the long run. I'm done with this. I'll refund you every penny you spent on me those 3 months. I wish you happiness in your future and success in all that you do. The most painful thing is after I've gotten my job back, you're still asking Alex, what kind of woman are you? No strings attached. It's the biggest lie I've ever heard when it comes to women and money. I know I made a mistake by taking money from my ex, but you cannot question my character like that. That was a real life chat between someone that's been in a long relationship. Maureen is giving a feedback, said Barrister Taiwo's responses are quite profound. We agree with you, Maureen. Thank you. Thank you so much. C, I'm going to come to you and give you an opportunity to talk about the issues, because I mean, we've heard this conversation. In this case 3, what are the issues exactly? Can you just outline them for us?
Okay, so another sad story. So someone in the YouTube chat was saying today is a sad day because of all the crazy cases. So for this case number 3, what I've identified as the issues, they're not really legal issues per se, but these are the issues that I've identified. First is remaining friends with an ex, good or bad. Second is seeking and accepting favors from an ex. Another one is whether an ex should just be a friend or a confidant. So discussing sensitive issues about your partner with an ex. And then, of course, there are trust issues, obviously, from this case. And of course, you know, finances. If there was no financial issue, maybe there wouldn't have been an issue of collecting money from an ex. There's some deception there because she said she got a raise from work. Meanwhile, the extra source of income was generous Alex. And then there's something around snooping, because guess what? If he hadn't checked her WhatsApp messages, he wouldn't have seen anything. So, you know, there's the snooping thing, okay? And then, you know, telling lies versus managing information. Those are the issues I've seen, you know. And then just to mention that, you know, someone told a story about a woman saying, "Can you do anything for me?" And the husband said, "Anything at all, even if you tell me to kill a lion." She said, "Oh, you can kill a lion for me?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Okay, choose between killing a lion and showing me your WhatsApp messages." And the guy says, "Where is the lion?"
Hey, the power of WhatsApp. All right, thank you very much, Chinwe. You've said I think you have outlined this quite a bit. But before I come to you, Ugo, I'm going to actually ask you to talk a bit more about this. What is the male view? We could hear the man's pain, and we could see the woman's angle of it in her defense of herself. It's a guilty or no guilty question. I'm asking this for the lady in this relationship. Was she guilty or was she not guilty? Because from what he said, the money she collected was spent in the house, and they ate it, you know, understand what I'm saying? It's for the upkeep of the home. So can we please get ready? If you're there, I want to see the paddle of whether guilty or not guilty. Are we ready to reveal? 1, 2, 3, go. Reveal. The lady, guilty or not guilty? So I'm laughing not because of the paddle. I really want to know what people are saying on Facebook. Please, if you can feed me responses, I want to know what's happening on YouTube and on Facebook. So for me, it's not what people are holding. For me, it's your faces. Look at how your faces are not nice at all. Like someone actually did this. Like auntie. Okay. So thank you so much. Issues. Mr. Ugo, after Ugo comes back, I'll take a few more notes on what people feel on social media. Mr. Ugo, speak to this, please. You're a man. Give us the male. You've seen majority of us feel that she's not guilty. So please share. What's your take on this?
First of all, I think Will Cox in the chat group, he says today is a sad day. This one should actually make you laugh a little bit, because it's not as, yeah, you get me.
Yes.
The reality is, the reason why this subject has polarized opinion is that there are just so many variables from the little information that we've got on the side of the man and on the side of the woman. So the issue that we've got there is very simple. If you ask me, again, number one, she lied. And when she lied, the reality is he asked the question. Now I'm going to come from a perspective here, because like I said, I could look at different variables. I could start from, there's a suspicious man and a lying girlfriend. I could come from, there's a normal guy trying to find out what's happening in his relationship. There's just so many variables. But based on the information I have, this is what I'm going to say. She lied. He asked her about the source of her money. And I want you to know that in the time we are, a lot of people don't ask questions. So that asking her, first of all, babe, how do we have money? Is a big deal. That's in quotes. It could stand, it could look like a responsible thing to do or like a suspicious thing to do. So you see the variables there. Number two, she spoke condescendingly about him. And I've played this story in my head more than 100 times, and I'm just imagining a conversation when something like, big boy, how you doing now? Man, I need money. I need money. Okay. You have a boyfriend. I'll go and ask him. Man, the guy is struggling a bit, he has lost his job and everything. I understand, but hey, yeah, it happens, right? Okay. But he's a man now. Most men have some savings somewhere, something tucked away, something. If he was a man, would I come to you? I'm just imagining the way that thing could have gone. So the reality, and even in his pain, if you notice in the response, there wasn't the kind of aggression that social media nowadays is associated with. With social media, we get to see a lot more of what's going on here. The guy is in pain. Now, again, listen, I'm not taking anyone's side, but I'm saying the guy is in pain, but he's still quite organized as far as I'm concerned, because he's responding. In his pain, he's saying, this is what you did to me. Okay, she said we needed the money. Number three is, okay, now that we're put together, you're still taking money from him. So you can't really say now it's about him. So this is where the rubber meets the road for me. I believe that money thing with her ex was about her and not about him. That's my personal opinion. Because if it was about him, she wouldn't have done it if she didn't need to. And that's where it is for me. I understand I've heard a lot of people say things like, oh, he's ungrateful and everything. But to be honest with you, what the guy said was, thank you very much. You've lied to me. I have a problem with his attitude based on, my friends told me. There's a lot of stuff, like I said, variables. But the reality he said is, I'll give you back the money that you spent on me, but I don't think we can go any further. Bye. That, again, is one of the things that we don't see so much when it comes to men handling relationships. We hear about people taking irons to give people slap, taking stools to flog human beings and all kinds of stupid stuff. So based on that, I'm looking at the man's side of things going, you know what? He's kind of conducted himself properly. He might not be right, but he's conducted himself properly. And that's my take. For as far as I'm concerned, the money was not about him. It was about her choosing to do what she wanted to do, good or bad. That's it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ugo. So you outlined how you felt. But when you were speaking, I saw, I watch a lot of crime programs, and they say when somebody does this, we call it yimu. The excessive one is yimu. And I don't know what the English word for yimu is, like maybe a grimace or whatever. Casey did it when Ugo was talking. Casey, it's like you have a different opinion in your head. Can you share what's your gripe with what Ugo has said?
Everything Ugo said is actually very correct, but I had actually raised my card to say not guilty. Reading out that story, the first thing I picked out was that they weren't married. I know that in other parts of the world, right, you get to a certain number of years as live-ins, and then it can be counted as though you were married, right? But we cannot judge the merit of a case outside what we were told. You have to, is within what we were told. So we don't know how many years they've lived together. I would assume that it's a couple of months, right? And so they are not married. And because they are not married, the issue of, I think the issue of exes and all of that is a bit overboard. That's what I believe. I think as long as you step out of legality, you've gone out of the way. She's gotten the money. I appreciate Ugo's point, saying that, at least he asked a question. But, the truth is, there are times where certain information isn't necessary. And I say this as a realist. There are times when, you know, even in relationships, people just go on and rattle and see, as long as that information, as long as that gist is not a life and death matter, oftentimes it's not necessary. What you know, what you don't know can't kill you. Oftentimes, you know, it's more harmful that you share information that is not just necessary. I see a lot of women do that. I also see some men do that, but mostly I see a lot of women just throw information. In the context of what we read, she said it's a loan. So I can't begin to deduce extras as to why not she collected. She said it's a loan. If she has said it's a loan, then it means she's going to refund the money, right? But there was something Ugo mentioned, you know, that I wanted to, you know, speak on. He said even after they were financially stable. So let's continue again, living partners, they are a couple, and now they are financially stable. Why is she still collecting money? The truth is many times, you know, and this is not a jab, but it's an information. In a marriage, there are male and female differences. There's a notion, oftentimes, you know, men have, it's a notion. Maybe most men, some men, oftentimes men, you know, let me put it in a way that it probably is not offensive, so we don't say generally, that when provision is made for the home, provision has been made for the woman. It's one thing to nag about a situation, it's one thing to throw tantrums, it's another thing to know the root solution and then go for what will give you the right answers. There's no use saying you want to throw up trouble. If I know this will be the solution, I know this is how a woman's thinking is, I would rather do that. If as a woman, I know this is how men think, it's better for me to follow those things rather than say, oh no, I'm a woman, so, you know, you should understand where I'm coming from. So that mindset that we are financially stable, there's sugar, there's milk, there's lights, so the woman is also financially okay, it's so wrong. You take it further, you see those that have to ask. Life abhors vacuum. When you begin to do those things, you automatically are creating a vacuum. So I wear the cap of a mother now, you know, like King Lemuel's mother, who advised him on who a virtuous woman should be. So if this was a note to my son, this is what I will tell him, right? To say that you don't make such an assumption. And once you have created a vacuum, of course, it's wrong for her to have said, you know, to have spoken less of the man. But you see, let me tell you, many times within negotiations, you don't know what happens. I've been a sales professional for over 15 years. There are many things you say, do you understand, to make a sale, to close the deal. That's why oftentimes you would see sales professionals and customer excellence people at loggerheads, because you would just go there and promise everything. And the customer excellence people are hearing that, they're screaming, oh yeah, you have sold your organization, yeah, but, you know. But the point is, you need to close a deal. She needs to get money. Anything that needs to happen afterwards, or your, right? And like we said, what you don't know will not kill you, right? You have seen that, you probably shouldn't have seen it. You asked, she told you it's a raise. Can we just keep it at a raise? If you have a decision to make, and that decision is to work. I appreciate his decision to work. For goodness sake, you're not married. So if you want to work, it's good you work. But if there's anything I wanted to, you know, bring out from what, you know, Ugo had mentioned, it is the fact that don't wait for when you're asked for money. Beyond when you're asked again, after the ask is like a list, you know, a tick-off list. After you are asked again, there will still be excuse on top, you know. Life abhors vacuum. Life abhors vacuum. This is King Lemuel's mother talking now. If you open a door, what you see many times may not be pleasant. And I say this again to speak to the trends we see today. You know, you have many dysfunctional women, you have many rebellious women, just because, you know, these things have been created time and again quickly, you know. There's a naive statement I see people make many times over social media, over funny places. It's a naive statement. You respect, there's a way they put it. If you cannot respect your husband like you respect your pastor or you respect your boss, I mean, it's the most naive thing I've ever heard. Why? Many times respect is earned, just like trust is earned. There's work to it. So for example, that woman, this is not holding brief, and this is not to say people should go ahead and keep disrespecting. This is simply to say that we live in a world of cause and effect. If you take an action, there's an effect you will derive, whether you like it or not, especially in this era where open eye, you know, we are sending our daughters to school. If it was in the days where your daughters do not go to school, you probably would be able to, you know, get away with it. But in this kind of scenario where our daughters are going to school, people are becoming enlightened. Some of those things can no longer work. You say she respects her pastor, or she respects her boss. She brings a flimsy document to her boss, and her boss simply says, "Please, could you go and redo this?" The boss will not say, "Are you a fool? Is your father stupid? Where did you even come from?" And send you to three generations down. And she probably keeps quiet and just walks away. She has kept quiet. It did not make her submissive. She kept quiet. It does not make that thing you have done accepted. That's why the next thing you will see her in the driver's room. Because it's the driver that will say, "Oh, madam, you are wonderful. You are nice." The next thing, she has hopped into that room. Right? You say, "Oh, she respects her pastor more." Sorry, Kara, you know, who go? You respect your pastor more. Her pastor prays for her. Her pastor checks upon her. Her pastor gives her, teaches her. And so you find out that these are things, these are roles that actually make up that position. And
Thank you so much.
If you begin to do them, you will see the results that follow. Garbage in, garbage out.
Thank you so much. That's why we call you case.
Hey,
People's hands are up.
Woo. Hot.
Can I say something, please?
Yes, please, Mr. T.
Well, I think it is important that we see. So I speak from Judeo-Christian perspective. Are you getting it? I'm a Christian, and all of my ideologies and philosophies are predicated on the light of Scripture to shape culture, to look at the circumstances we are dealing with right now, and how should we look at it vis-a-vis the perspective of Scripture. Whether I'm speaking for United Nations, I'm speaking for the British Council. Everywhere I speak, I cannot but speak according to my convictions. I think the first thing we need to understand, and I have a responsibility to urge this conviction on people, not to force it on them, but to urge them, you know, because the world is a market, it is a marketplace of ideas. Everybody comes to sell ideas. Naira Marley is selling idea, Two-Face is selling his own, everybody is selling. So let me sell my own here. Now, so let me start by saying that number one, we must recognize the fact that these two people are not married. And if they are not married, it means that the relationship is not yet solidified according to, in the eye of God and according to the laws of the land. There are rights and duties and responsibilities that come with marriage. So I listened to Pastor Bimbo Dukoya, blessed memory, and she made it abundantly clear that a broken relationship is better than a broken marriage. It's not whether she collect money or she did not collect money. If before marriage, though you have started eating the forbidden food, living together and all of that, that's a symposium discussion for another day. If you guys are not married, you are not yet married, you are having trust issues. It's not about what has happened. It's about the disposition of both parties to it, that I don't trust you enough. What you are saying is not enough. You know, I've been in different situations in my life but for the fact that there are trust in my marriage, you know, because both of us, we trust ourselves and we know ourselves, but for the fact that we have taken time to build trust, we'll have been in trouble. You know, it is enough for my wife to suspect sabotage, you know, But because of trust, as a matter of fact, it never became conversation. And I'll give you very quick two of them quickly. I'm not going to take much of your time. Number one, I was in Abuja facilitating a program, and I had an appointment with a lady in my hotel. When I travel, I meet people in the lobby of the hotel, particularly when I travel alone. And this lady was trying to reach me frantically because I had an appointment with her. When I finished my training, we were supposed to meet. And when she couldn't reach me, what did she do? She went to my website and called the first available number. And at that time, my wife and I worked together. My wife was the one holding the phone. And my wife picked the phone. Hello, this Akiname Academy. I've been trying to reach Mr. Akiname. I have an appointment with him. I can't reach him. Whom am I speaking with? My wife introduced herself and said, okay, don't worry, I'll call him for you. Then my wife called me, love, there's a lady trying to reach you. It says it's your hotel. You know, that's the hotel where we had our training, not where I lodged. So my wife said, he says, okay. Now, that never became a conversation. My wife never asked me, who is she? Why is she calling you? And the other one is let me just leave that. So because of time. So it is important that we recognize that if the foundation is destroyed, what shall the righteous do? Is important. So if from this moment they're already having issues as to whether you trust or you don't trust, it's important that they go, because a broken relationship is also a successful courtship. When a relationship is broken, it just shows that this another person you cannot marry. These are Pastor Bimbo's ideologies. That if a relationship is broken, it doesn't mean it has failed. It has revealed to you the kind of person that you are and the kind of person you may not want to end up with. That's very, very important. Then number two is the fact that at the end of the day, when we take a look at all of these things should be done the way they should be done. Now, Pastor Bimbo said that if someone is suspecting the wife in marriage, one of the reasons why he may suspect the wife in marriage is that when they were not married, they were having sex. If they were having sex when they were not married, and you are now saying that you are not having sex with another man, the man will think to himself, or the woman will think to herself, were we married when we were doing it? Were we married when we were doing it when we were not married? How come you think, were we supposed to be doing it? We're not supposed to be doing it. Now that we're doing it when we're not married, how do you want to convince you are not doing with somebody else? Those are fundamental issues that is important to look at. And lastly, when KC talks about vacuum, I think it is important that, you see, when you talk about vacuum in the family, see, I think what the family needs is a family constitution. I'm happy we're in a family court. If you run a business, there's constitution of business. It's called MEMAT, Memorandum of Association and Article of Association. You run an NGO, there's a constitution for the NGO. You run a nation, there's a constitution for the nation. Even when you say the British Constitution is an unwritten constitution, it's known. Nobody comes from the blues. The way the role of the monarchy in the entire arrangement of government is clear. Nobody can just wake up and say monarchy is the head of government. It's a ceremonial head of government. So now when you have a family, when there is no constitution, that is, what is it that binds our family together? What do we believe in? Finance must be discussed. Because you see, there's nowhere in God's word where it is written that it is the responsibility of the man to provide for the family. It's not in scripture. It's not in scripture. Now, people quote Timothy when Paul was talking about administration of widows. Administration of widows. President Buhari is not the richest, is not supposed to be the richest person in Nigeria. And all the money we spend in Nigeria does not come from Buhari, but it's the head of the nation. People bring resources together. But these are fundamental discussions that I had with my wife at the point of committing to marriage. How do we run finance? So in my home, I'm the head of the home, but I'm a co-financier in the home. Now I recognize the place of meeting my wife's needs. I recognize the place of meeting my wife also meeting my need. So when we talk about the issue of vacuum therefore will be defined by the agreed terms. There has to be agreed terms. God's relationship with us is on some agreed terms. It's very, very important. So if you don't have an agreement as to who is responsible for what, where do we get money from? How do we fund the family? You cannot come in my family now. I earn, my wife earns. So I'm not the only one carrying the load. We share it. But we have agreed on how we're going to share it. So that does not mean I cannot bless my wife, and that does not mean my wife cannot bless me. As a matter of fact, my wife blesses me more. She grew up in an environment, she believes in gifts, she's the one that remembers Father's Day, all of that. I try to remember. My wife does a lot of surprises. I'm not a surprises person. If I want to buy her something, I'll go ask her, do you like this? But she is a surprise master. There's no end to how much she can surprise me. And finally, the issue of what you expect to give to your pastor. and the respect you give to your husband or the respect you give to your boss. I think these are two different roles. Your husband is a different person from your boss. The role that your boss is playing in your life is different from the role that your husband is playing in your life. It is important that we recognize that, because you see, the dynamics can never be the same as to what I do to my pastor and as to what I do to my husband. I think at the end of the day, is for me to look at my relationship with my husband and ask the question, is it a relationship I can live with in accordance with God's word, or is it a relationship that I cannot live with? It is about whether I can stay or I cannot stay and still remain myself. It's not about to stay and not be myself and be showing the man. And the same thing for the wife. The wife also cannot remain and be showing the husband. The husband also cannot remain and be showing the wife. You have to sit down and agree. The way things are going, let's have conversation. You can't have conversation. Let's get a third party that both of us have agreed can look into our matter. And not in my family, we have people we have appointed that can look into our matter. And you know the rule in my family. Now, the number one rule again is that you can talk to these people. You can talk to these people. Number two, you may need to inform me. You may need to put me on notice. Don't go by way of ex parte motion. Put me on notice. The lawyer will understand that. Don't put me on notice. Let me know that. And it is also a rule. I cannot stop you from seeking help when you think you need to seek help. If you come to a point in my marriage and you think you need to seek help, my wife cannot stop me. I cannot stop her. We must go and seek help. So these are fundamental things I think we need to establish, and it will be well with us. Finally, there are no two marriages that are the same. And there's no perfect marriage on earth. There's no perfect marriages anywhere on earth. We are perfecting holiness in the fear of God. So anybody tells you, myself and my wife, we don't argue, we are always together, is a lie. You know, because except you go marry a dummy. And what do I mean? You go to ShopRite, Ikeja shopping mall, or you go to London shopping mall, anywhere, you buy a dummy, you bring it to the house, you put ring. That's why you won't argue. Even God, the maker of the heaven and earth, has not been able to achieve no arguing with us. We argue with him. We even curse him. We even do things. So he gave us free will. That free will was what led to Adam and Eve causing trouble in the garden. So these are fundamental issues that you cannot now tell me that you have a wife that does not argue with you. When there's 3 pieces of meat in the soup, the wife will eat, you will eat 3, you will eat 2, your wife and children will share 1. That's slavery. That's not marriage. So these are fundamental issues I think is important that we take into cognizance in looking at all of these issues. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for taking your time. Are we there?
Kara, on mute.
Sorry, I was muted. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Mr. T. I am here. Mr. T, are you there?
That's the question we have there.
That's the question of the moment. Are you there? So, yes. So Amarachi Animbata said, trust is gold in a relationship. And Oha Gwonyeka said, finances is a real subject in a relationship and should be addressed early enough before marriage. So, yes, comments have been coming in since, and the sage wants to say something. After the sage has spoken, which I pray you will please keep it short, I'm going to come round to everybody and take your final thoughts before we sign out. I'm not sorry that today's own is a bit long, because the issues talking about are real life issues. I've gotten some solutions listening to Ugo. In fact, the very first statement Ugo made corrected my head concerning something, and listening to also Mr. Taiwo, because they might be talking about other people's situations, but if you're real, you will find solution for yourself, even in that. Mr. Taiwo, I'm happy you're drinking water. You finished 1 whole bottle, because I mean, this cases we're talking about today, they're not small cases. So very quickly, Sage, please talk to us. You've been quite quiet. I want to hear from you.
So very quickly, I wanted to say something that is a recurring issue. This issue of I made the decision for us. The former case we looked at, the lady decided unilaterally to go outside and get pregnant to help her husband cover his shame, quote and unquote. In this present case we're looking at, the lady decided to go and ask an ex to help the guy. What I'm trying to say is this: if truly you are trying to make a decision for the other person, should the other person not know? In Igbo, we have a very popular proverb. It may not fit, but I will make it fit. They say, "Otu onye aderi ha." One person cannot eat what belongs to a village. That certainly means that one person should not make a decision that is for the collective good. And that's why I think that in those two cases, these people acted selfishly. If you are, it's just, we all feel upset when people go and decide, why should you go and speak for me? If I can't conceive, let me know that there's a problem. Don't go out and bring children and then hide. And see, don't now go and ask an ex if you are saying it's for the benefit of you and your guy. Why not tell him, I want to go and ask my ex? Certainly, you know, if you ask him that, a real man might tell you, hell no, I would rather die than have you go out to go and ask. So if you didn't do that, then I want to put it to you that what is motivating you is not the collective need, but your own personal need. And that's why even when the guy's job was reinstated, you didn't still cut off that umbilical cord. You've opened the door and you can't close it. And then and that's how secrecy in relationships starts building. Why are you doing that? I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So in summary, what I'm saying is, if indeed the decision you're making is for the benefit of your spouse or your partner, he ought to know and he ought to be a part of the decision-making process, not you just making or deciding. And that's why many ladies say, I did it for us, I did it for us. No, you didn't do it for us, you did it for you.
Thank you.
That's my
Thank you so much, Ada the Sage. That's the verdict, people. You heard it from us. Are you there? On Facebook, are you there? On YouTube, are you there? That's the verdict from all of us today. It's been amazing. Ugo, thank you. Mr. T. Akinlami, thank you. To my sisters in the powder room, thank you. Everyone has said so much tonight already. I'm sorry I may not be able to come round because it's 8:25 and take our final statements, but I will permit our guests to say something, just Ugo and Mr. T, before I release what we're going to be talking about next week. Let's first start from Ugo. Ugo, any final words as we sign off tonight?
Final words, final sentences. Basically, the reality is, you know, from everything we've heard today, there's actually a very serious need for education and reorientation through mentorship. When I say education, I don't mean information. There's so much information everywhere. Social media means that even mad people, forgive me, are speaking. So the reality is there's information everywhere, but little education. I know some law doesn't make me a lawyer. It's concentrated information in one direction that causes education. So whether it's the male gender and whether it's the female gender or the other gender, male or female, the reality is there's need for education and then reorientation. When you go and study to be a lawyer, you study to be a doctor, the reality is that you learn the theory, but you also learn the practice. There has to be someone you can make yourself accountable to. And this generation doesn't have a lot of that. And that's why I'm really happy about what's happening in the powder room. And I want to encourage everyone here, if you're a woman in the house today, the reality is you have an opportunity for education and reorientation through mentorship, not just to the mouth of one person, but these many gallant, wonderful women you're looking at. And if you're a man, part of education is listening to hear what a woman and how a woman thinks. You know, today I was checking the Bible in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22. You know that thing of women submit to your husbands? It's loud everywhere. But should I shock you? From verse 23 to verse 33 was about how the man should love his wife. It's amazing, but that's the reality. So everybody needs education and reorientation through mentorship. God bless you.
Whoa! After this, I'm going to go and look for verse 22 to 23, and I'm going to share it in morning devotion tomorrow. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please, Mr. T. Akinlami, thank you. Please talk to us. What are your final words?
Thank you very much. A lot has been said. What more can I say? I'll just say that the conversation has been rich, powerful. What I normally do is that I want to encourage the ladies in the powder room to keep rubbing more powder on their face and on their and bringing all of this to the fore. I think we have had a wonderful conversation tonight, which must have liberated a lot of people. It's a breath of fresh air from the junk, that we have out there, and so junk. If all we have is junk, then people will live junk lives. But if we can bring some reasoning, some thinking, what happens is that we begin to advance little by little. So for me, I advise the place of personal responsibility, because you cannot change the world until you change yourself. So if you want to whatever happens, always introspect, look into yourself. There are something that you can do better another time. So I tell people, value, people don't marry, values do. People don't keep relationship, values do. People don't form relationships, values do. It's all about value. And when we talk about value at the end of the day, it's about what you hear regularly and what you see. Those are the things that form what you think. What you think will now determine your belief. Your belief will determine your habit will determine your response, your relationships, and your relationships will determine your opportunities will determine your rewards, and your reward will determine your significance. We can give the conversation going. I have a Facebook group, Taiwo Akinlami Academy Facebook group. I'm there every Friday to have a conversation on different issues, basically on protection of children and family. And so you can join that group, Taiwo Akinlami Academy. You can also join our Telegram channel. I post ideas, information. Like, for example, this program we post it on our Telegram channel for people to join us. If you have Telegram, you just go to the Family Clinic. So you can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram also at Taiwo Akinlami. Let's keep the conversation going. And we have a free ebook. If you join our Telegram channel, it's securing a friendly and protective environment for children during this COVID-19 era. If you go to our channel, you can get it. Then we have a book, How Do You Safeguard Your Children Online? It's a tool, 123 pages of step-by-step tools that you can use with samples, with precedents that you can use. It's life. It has to be prioritized for families because our children are going online. Online is not wrong. It is those who go there that may be wrong or right. So you don't need to fret when you can lean on our 23 years of experience. So put that material together. It's available. You can pick it up. If you send me a message on my WhatsApp number is 08033620843. 08033620843. If you send me a WhatsApp message, you order for that book, that ebook, we'll make it available to you. We'll tell you how to get it. It will help you in no small way. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Mr. T. Thank you so much, Ugo. I'm sure we're definitely going to have you back in the powder room. I think this conversation needs to continue. And I really, 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 really appreciate your presence with us tonight. We do not take it lightly and we appreciate you. Thank you. And there's a lot of response already on social media saying they don't want it to stop. They want people to keep on. They didn't say that when it was just us, but I will not hold that against them. And very quickly, talking about next week. Remember, every week we always try to share with you what's coming next week. Next week in the powder room, we're going to be talking about something really interesting. We're writing a letter to our younger selves. So if you were to write a letter to your younger self, what would you say in retrospect? So that is what we're going to be doing. I got a thumbs up from Mr. Taiwo. I got a positive review from Ugo. Thank you so much. So that means it's a very important topic. So join us. We're all going to be writing letters to our younger selves, and then we're going to be very real. And this is powder room. We don't have time. That say we're putting on powder. Yes, it's very important. But we're also talking real life issues. So if you could just please put your sound on and say bye-bye to everyone as we log off tonight with our outro. Thanks for hanging out with us. Come on, guys, you can say bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, pretty lady, tell yourself that you'll never make Hey, pretty lady, you tell yourself that you'll never make